For the first time in over 3 years, the Bud Pro Surfing Tour returns to Huntington Beach, California. This is the third of 11 stops in 1990. 192 of the nation's top surfers and 40 of the world's best bodyboarders have come to Bolsa Chica State Beach to compete for big prize money in the $50,000 Dive and Surf Pro-Am, and it's right here on Prime Network.
Drive out from the valley, find the seashore, have a look. They bring their little children and they bring their favorite book. They open up a cold one and they throw the bottle down. They make its way back to the sea, back into the chain. We will not last without it. Cool, clear water.
Hey, Karch, is that the new Volleyball Monthly?
Yep, just got it today.
Here, can I have a gander?
Come on, it's my turn. Uh-oh.
Check that out.
My neck. Hey, back off. You can get your own subscription. Just call the 800 number, guys.
What 800 number?
This one.
To put 12 issues of Volleyball Monthly in your mailbox for just $18, call 1-800-421-8800.
Huntington Beach, California, considered by many to be the birthplace of American mainland surfing. For sure, it is called Surf City, USA. Today it is the host city for the third stop on the Budweiser Pro Surfing Tour under the banner of the Professional Surfing Association of America. And with all that newfound information, hi everybody, I'm Mike Chamberlain, and joining me on the broadcast today from the $50,000 Dive and Surf Pro-Am is a man who in 1976 was the world champion of surfing. I call him Australia's greatest natural resource. He's a legend in Australia, at least that's what he tells me. Peter Townend's here today. Gosh, with an introduction like that, you might as well go home.
I think I'll get down. I don't know how to follow that up.
Well, Peter, let's talk about the stop here in Huntington Beach today. We opened up in Puerto Rico. From there, we went on to Hawaii. Now we're back in California, cold water.
Well, 2 events in the tropics. Now it's to the smaller conditions here in California. And so far on the Bud Tour, it's been very interesting. We've had a couple of different winners, different finalists, and I think for the first time on the Bud Tour, we're going to see a real mixed year. We're going to see lots of different faces all the time in the finals, and a couple of consistent performances already, though. This young kid, Shane Beshan, he started off last year, you know, he came 4th as an amateur, and this year already he's been up there already in 2 events. He's still in the running here today. Charlie Coons looked great, even though already he's knocked out of this event. And, you know, locally here, Gary Clisby's looked great. He's in the top 10 so far this season, and he's still in the event here today in Huntington. And I think Brian Putka, he's also looked very good. He's another local boy that's going to do real well out here. But all in all, I think we're going to see the most competitive year. You know, it's just going to be a great year, I think.
Well, $7,000 for the eventual winner of this contest today, $50,000 overall. But, Peter, I think we ought to talk about Huntington Beach, California. It made some headlines nationally recently, headlines that any city really doesn't want. A tanker offshore dropped 395,000 gallons of oil into the water. It washed up onto the shore. It was a true tragedy. The good news is the city rallied around it, and they cut this thing short. They captured it before it spread too far.
Well, the beaches are looking great, you know, and they really did a great effort. They got a lot of experienced people in here, and the local community really got behind it. They came down here, learned how to deal with the oil on the beaches, And I'd have to say I think the beaches are even cleaner now than they were before the oil spill. It's not a good thing to say, but, you know, it was really a great effort, and hopefully we don't ever see anything like that happen here again.
Peter, let's talk about, we know the surfers on the water and the bodyboarders too. Let's talk about the five wise men that sit above us, actually. They're the judges. What are they looking for here today?
Well, out here, you know, you have 5 judges up there, and they're looking for the biggest wave and longest ride with the most radical maneuvers in the most critical section of the wave. The 5 judges, they score in a 1 to 10 range, and it's your best 4 rides. So, you know, basically the easy thing is you get the biggest ride it all the way to the beach, do as much as you can, and you're going to be a winner. But you got to do it 4 times.
You make it sound so easy, but tomorrow morning in the papers, they'll just say win or loss. It's those 2 columns. Of course, they all want to be the winners and walk away with that $7,000 first prize money. Well, you met me. I'm Mike Chamberlain. You met Peter Townend. Let's meet the 3rd member of the broadcast team, and he's down on the beach. Say hi to Chris Morrow. Chris?
All right, Mike, thanks a lot. Well, here we are in Huntington Beach for our first stop on the California tour. Thank God we could have it here. There's no oil left on the beach. But anyways, we still have a little bit of a swell pushing through today. I'm not going to kid you, the waves aren't great, but it is a far cry from yesterday. Yesterday was about 6 inches, and these guys are ripping it up for how small it is. And aerobically, it takes a lot out of you when you're surfing these small waves because you have to create a lot of your own speed. So we should see some pretty good surfing today as the swell increases. So, Mike, Peter, back to you.
All right, thank you, Chris Morrow. We'll be checking in with Chris throughout the day. But, Peter, before we get into semifinal number 1 of surfing, we really should talk about the body glove bodyboard division here, one of the fastest-growing sports in America. I recommend you try it. You can really have fun the first time out, but these are the pros here today.
Well, just like in the men's division, as I said, there's going to be a lot of interesting results. I think even more so in the bodyboarding because at the last event at Makaha in Hawaii, we saw for the first time an end to the dominance of Mike Stewart and Ben Severson when young Jason Brown from Kauai upset those 2 and took that event. So I think the bodyboarding this year is going to prove to be very interesting also.
Okay, well, I think that kind of sets the scene for the body glove bodyboard division, which comes up in a little bit. Let's talk about semifinal number 1. The contest is just about to get underway on Prime Network. Set it up for us, Peter.
Well, semifinal number 1, we got Brian Putka from Fountain Valley. As I said at the top of the show, he's a local guy here, and he's looked very strong. We also have Sean Madison all the way from Florida, and you know he was a consistent performer last year. Also Chris Brown from Santa Barbara. Now we saw him in the finals a couple of times last year, and he's a real strong performer, particularly in small conditions like this. And of course Paul Barr, he's been a consistent standout on the Bud Tour since day 1.
All right, Peter, I see him heading into the water right now. They're paddling out. Semi-final number 1 is about to get underway. At the end of the rainbow, a check for $7,000. Let's turn our attention to semi number 1. All right, PT, we're off and running, and down the beach in red, Brian Putka, the guy that he told you about from Fountain Valley, California.
Well, he couldn't get that one, Mike, but look right behind it. Looks like a good one behind it, and he got waves down the beach here similar in the quarterfinals, which he won the quarterfinal earlier on, and he's been looking very good. And look at this first wave. He drops in. He's got a beautiful wall in front of him. A nice snap off the top there. Now he comes down the inside. Look at the speed he's getting there. A nice floater over that section. Out onto the open face. Another nice floater over that section. Onto the inside. All the way down in front of us right here. Right to the inside. A nice snap there. Loses it right at the end. But, Mike, a great opening ride.
Well, Putka kind of set the scene for everybody. And if you look on the water, Peter, they're all paddling down to where he caught that wave. So Putka with some good wave knowledge to open it up, and he had, as Peter said, the secret to that one, good board speed as he came down the open face of the wave that allowed him to do a couple of maneuvers and to open up the bidding here in semifinal number 1. Over on the right side, I see Sean Madison from Carlsbad, California. Grew up in Florida, though, trying to scratch into this one. If he gets it, it's kind of a... He's not even quite sure what to do, and so he backs out of it. You could smell that one coming. So Madison going to hold off for a better wave, and here it comes right now, Peter.
Well, yeah, there's a little one building up down the beach, but the tide's coming in right here at Huntington, and what it's doing is it's bringing the swells in close to the beach. We're going to have a real shore break condition here for the finals this afternoon, and Madison now looking at this wave. He's up and riding. He's coming right toward us. A hollow little section in front of him. He builds up the speed. Nice little floater over the lip as it closes it out. But meanwhile, down the beach looks like Paul Barr there.
Paul Barr's going to paddle. He doesn't look like he's going to, well, he's fighting for it. Might as well go for it. Barr, ranked number 10 on the circuit this year, is up and at it. Backside no-go, crashes over him, and in the yellow, Chris Brown in the best position so far this afternoon, Peter.
Well, nice little right taking shape here for Chris Brown, and he's up and riding. He's got a long wall in front of him. He's trying to build up the speed here. Snap off the open face. His wave's going to close out, though, but a nice off the top there as it closes out. He can't quite break out of the whitewater, but not a bad opening ride. But Brian Putka still, Mike, with the best opening ride so far, and we see him. He's moved back down the beach again. Well, look, here's Sean Madison making his way back out, and he could be in luck. I think he's going to paddle straight into a little peak. It's coming right at him. It's trying to build up out there on the sandbar. Looks like there might be one or two in this. He's going to take a look at the first one. Somebody could be in luck for a bigger one behind, but here goes Sean Madison on the first one on the inside, and he's up and riding. He's building up that speed down the line. He goes off the bottom, and now he's getting all that speed towards the inside, setting up for the big move on the inside there. Nice little floater. But meanwhile, outside, Mike, looks like Paul Barr.
Looks like Paul Barr is going to try and follow that up, and no, as it does, it comes over the sandbar, and it kind of flattens out. So no go for Barr. And we hope you don't go away. Surfing on Prime Network. Continue from Huntington Beach.
It's USC Sports Magazine for the serious Trojan fans. No matter what the sport, we've got interviews, highlights, and inside information. You'll jump for Troy. So join host Tom Kelly for USC Sports Magazine only on Prime Ticket.
Prime Ticket's got the best come what may. The Lakers are in the hunt for their third world title in 4 years, and Prime Ticket's there. This year, the Magic's back, and the Lakers won't be hamstrung. Tomorrow's big leaguers are swinging away today. USC, UCLA, and the best of the Big West. We've got the hits in big-time college baseball. And it's in-your-face action from the sands of Texas to the shores of California. Pro Beach Volleyball's a smash, and May's a winner on Prime Ticket.
For the latest news in professional tennis, don't miss Tennis Magazine. Informative interviews, helpful hints, and more. It all comes your way on Tennis Magazine.
The new aerodynamic Chevrolet Lumina APV. Beautiful on the outside with family room inside. Lumina also comes in a stylish 2-door coupe and 4-door sedan, and they all come with $1,000 factory cash. Big families will also like the 4 doors in the new 1991 4-door Chevy S10 Blazer, featuring 4-wheel anti-lock brakes and available in 2-wheel and 4-wheel drive. See the all-new family of family cars at your Southern California Chevrolet and Geo dealer.
Welcome back, everybody, to Surfing on Prime Network. In the water right now, semifinal number 1, Potker, Madison, Brown, and Barr. Here we go again. It looks like Potker has worked his way down to the end of the beach again, and he's going to work it over again. Look at him bring the board up and down. There's a big maneuver off the top, and again, that's what the judges are looking for. Brian Potker out of Fountain Valley, California, ranked 88th on the tour this year, Peter.
Well, let's just take a look at that one maneuver there. He did a beautiful off the bottom, off the top floater that he just got a lot of speed. And right now, he's just in a commanding position in this heat. He's had 3 good rides, and, you know, these heats only being 20 minutes long, he's in a great position to move through to the finals here at the Dive and Surf Pro-Am in Huntington Beach.
Way down on the right-hand side of the beach in the blue, Sean Madison out of Carlsbad, California, drops into what looks to be a long line. He's going to watch his roundhouse. He's going to bring it back into the meat of the wave. Here he is working under the wide water as he skims it. Nice little section in front of him. Madison's best wave without question. 2 of the guys in semifinal number 1 will advance on to the finals, and he bails out the backside, but not before he got up some speed and a couple of radical maneuvers for Sean Madison. Peter, this one is stretching all the way down the beach, and Potker is the best man in position. He paddles, and he's up on his feet. The goofy footer heads left side, and here he goes. A little spray of white water. Look at this section. Got his board speed up. He may be exceeding the speed limit here in Huntington Beach as he floats to the other end of it, vertical off the top. So, Peter, he back-to-back just turns it right in.
And right behind him, though, Paul Barr. He's had a couple of good ones here in the latter part of the heat. He's got the speed here. He does a floater himself over that whitewater section. Finish off with a little whitewater rebound. Not as good as Potker, but that'll help him. But let's go back for one moment. Take a look at that one floater Brian Potker did. It was an incredible floater. He just set it up and just did a beautiful over the lip and just floated for the longest hang time we've seen yet.
Here's Chris Brown working a wave. He is the youngest of the 4 semifinalists here today at Huntington Beach. Not a lot to work with, but he's trying to get the wave count up. In the blue, Sean Madison kicking, scratching, trying to get into this. You can see the tide coming in now.
Well, Mike, as we get down to the final minutes here in semifinal number 1, look at this set coming down the beach. Orange and blue are down there. Who's going to go?
Well, Mother Nature finally cooperating. It looks as though Paul Barr is going to pick off the first one of the set. He leans into a long line. Right now just doing some S-turns, trying to let the wave set up and form up. Oh, and no, it closes out on him, Peter, and that's not exactly what he hoped for, because out back, here comes the blue jersey of Madison.
And up and riding Sean Madison, and a nice snap on the open face there. He drops down to the bottom again, and the critical section building up in front of him. He's setting up for the big move on the inside. A nice off the top there from Sean Madison, and he needed that wave here in the closing moments. And out behind him, here's Chris Brown, Mike.
Chris picks off the third wave in the set, so the youngster, the 19-year-old from Santa Barbara, is going to get the closeout wave of this set. Looking to bring the rails side to side, waiting for the wave, just stalling patiently for the wave to set up. Oh, a little side slip, and the rail goes sideways, and uh-oh, out back, when you know it, Mother Nature's going to deal the best one to Potker.
And Potker's in great position for the best wave of the heat so far. A nice off the top there, beautiful open face move. A nice cut back there, sweeping. Now look at this little inside section here. Another nice smooth cut back, and Potker, I think, has just taken this semi-final number away. Oh, look at that radical snap on the inside. He can't quite just pull it out. He looks at the bottom of his board, but a great finish there from Brian Potker. You say he is going to call it a day this time, Mike. He's coming in.
Well, Peter, every heat takes on its own personality, and that one shaped up nicely for Brian Potker. He opened it up with a great wave, and he closed the book with a great one.
Well, there's no question Brian Potker's in the finals in my mind. I mean, he dominated that heat, and it'd be a big surprise if he wasn't our finalist here today. The other place, I'm not too certain. I think Sean Madison's got the best shot at it. He finished off with a really strong ride. Paul Barr got a couple of good rides towards the end, and Chris Brown, he just never was in the running.
Let's take a look back at some of the quarterfinal action. The waves weren't great, but the surfing was pretty darn good. In quarterfinal number 1, Brian Potker, Jason Howey, Sean Madison, and Dino Andino.
Well, on this first ride we're looking at right here, it's Dino Andino. He was trying to pick up the rights and go down the beach, but he really wasn't getting a lot of open face to work with.
Here's Jason Howey from Laguna Niguel, California, just up the coast, and he catches some white water, tries to, catches a rail, goes down and swallows that white water.
Well, you need to do better than that, and Sean Madison was looking very zippy, getting a lot of down-the-line speed, and was able to connect sections together, and he was looking pretty good in this quarterfinal.
And Brian Potker from Fountain Valley, which is real close to Huntington Beach. He's the local favorite here today.
Well, he was picking up those lefts down the beach. They were great rides, and he finished them off with great vertical moves like that one right there. And so moving through, it was Sean Madison and Brian Potker.
There's some of the locals out with the locals here today. Dolphins dotting quarterfinal number 2. Chris Brown, Paul Barr, Vince De La Pena, and Scott Farnsworth.
And up and riding here, Scott Farnsworth. He was looking okay, but I thought he needed to be a bit more snappy, and in the final result, he just didn't have enough snap to get him through.
Vinny De La Pena, here's a former winner on the PSAA Tour, working a backside, flipping the board, trying to get some speed up. Little waves, trying to make some big maneuvers, but it's not happening today for Vinny De La Pena.
Well, the lightweight Chris Brown, these little waves were to his liking, and he was able to really zip it around. You can see him here really working this little ride over. And, you know, of course, he's a real light little guy, and it was to his advantage, I'm sure.
Here's Paul Barr. He's from Carlsbad, California. Good board speed up on a minuscule of a wave and a nice roundhouse cutback. White water all around him, and Barr and Brown will move on. Heat number 3, quarterfinal action. Shane Beshin, Rick Lash, Pat O'Connell, and Gary Clisby. Here's O'Connell from Laguna Niguel. Good little section in front of him. Bashes off the white water.
And up and riding here, Rick Lash. He's a newcomer here to the quarterfinal action, and a nice rebound off the water there, but he fell down, and that was going to be costly.
Here's the youngster from San Clemente, California, still a teenager in high school, Shane Beshin.
And up and riding here, ripping it on his home break, Gary Clisby lives just down the street from here, and he was looking real alive, and really nice combination of moves. And going through, Gary Clisby and Shane Beshin.
Quarterfinal number 4, Richie Rudolph, Todd Miller, Jimmy Hogan, and Doug Silver. This is Hogan from San Clemente, picked off probably the biggest wave so far today.
And up and riding here, Todd Miller. He's a regular in the quarterfinal, semifinal action, but he wasn't really picking up the better waves in this heat, and you can see he took a spill on the inside there.
In the red is Richie Rudolph going backside on just a little bitty wave, nothing to work with, he goes down.
Meanwhile, down the beach, Dougie Silver was picking up those same lefts that Brian Potker had worked over earlier on, and so going through into the semifinals, Doug Silver and Jim Hogan.
Let's go down to the beach right now and check in with Chris Morrow with one of the local favorites, Brian Potker.
All right, Brian Pottinger looked like he had a pretty good semi. It looked like you sat over there on those little lefts by yourself there. Is that a bit of strategy you've been working on, been working for you so far?
Yeah, it has been. I knew if I was patient and sat away from the rest of the competitors, and just wait for the waves to come in. I knew I could get my wave count, and I did it.
Those lefts look like they're pretty consistent over there. They seem to be working for you, right?
Yeah, they are. They line up really good, and they brakes out outside a little bit, where I can do outside maneuvers and then race it in the inside to do those floaters.
All right, Brian. Well, good luck to you in the final.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Semi-final number 1 in the record book, so the showdown in semi-2 about to happen.
Well, semi-final number 2 is really shaping up to be a great one, too. We're going to have Gary Clisby. Now, you want to keep your eyes on him. He's a local boy also, like Brian Putka. Very similar, so I think he's going to probably try and do the same thing, look for those lefts down the beach. Also, we're going to have Shane Beshan. Now, at the top of the show, I said he's the guy to look for this year, and he's been looking very good also. We're going to have Jimmy Hogan. He's very consistent. And Doug Silver. It's his first appearance here in the semi-finals on the Bud Tour this year.
Shane Beshan just turned pro this year, and he is already number 2 on the circuit, so we'll keep our eyes on the young man from San Clemente, California. Let's do that right now. Semi-final number 2 is underway.
Well, paddling into the first wave in semi-final number 2, Jimmy Hogan up and riding on his backhand. Nice long face in front of you. Nice off the top there. He drops back into it again. Critical section, nice floater. Oh, he just can't stay with it, but not a bad opening ride.
Well, way out there on the, well, we got him going at both ends. In the blue, let's jump on Gary Clisby from Huntington Beach, California, the guy with all the local knowledge. As it starts to set up in front of him, he's really working this one over. Oh, and he catches a rail, buries the nose, and he jumps onto the board. That is going to be costly as we look back on semifinal number 2.
Meanwhile, on the other end of that wave going right was Doug Silver on his backhand in the orange. Had a pretty good opening ride, a couple of good maneuvers. He'll be looking to get better than that, but you never know in these inconsistent wave conditions that one could come into play in the final result.
Peter, this could come back to haunt Gary Clisby. What went wrong in this wave? It looked to me like he simply turned too sharp, and they say they catch the rail.
Well, from the start of this wave, he really didn't look like he had it totally in control. His first cutback, as you take a look at it right here, he looked like he was dragging a little bit. He really didn't have the speed. Then he got onto the inside here, and he's trying to build up the speed as the thing started to get hollow as it hit the sandbar. And he went down to the bottom for the big turn and just caught that rail, and then he just went nowhere.
Well, Peter, we have a set starting to roll in, but we also have the results from semifinal number 1, and you were right on the money.
Well, Brian Putka easily walked away with semifinal number 1, and in second place, Sean Madison with a good, strong performance. So there's our first 2 finalists as we see outside a nice wave shaping up here, and it's Doug Silver in the orange with a lot of speed down the line. Nice snapping cut back off the top there, sent a lot of spray. Now he sets up for this inside racetrack. He's building up that speed down the line for the maneuver. A nice little floater off the top there, and a good ride there for Doug Silver. Meanwhile, outside, Mike.
We're finally going to hear from Shane Beshan, the 19-year-old, born and raised in San Clemente, California. Nice little sharp cutback. Nice little section in front of him. He skirts underneath the whitewater. Look at him float off the top. He's now into what they call the shore break here. And one more quick vertical release off the top. So Shane Beshan, who picks off his first wave, the 18-year-old, makes his presence felt. He is ranked number 2 on the Bud Pro Surfing Tour 1990.
Well, a great ride there for Shane Beshan. Interesting thing in this semi-final number 2, we're actually going to see the leader of the Bud Tour come out of this heat today. We've got both Hogan and Shane Beshan in position to take the overall lead because Charlie Kuhn got knocked out in the competition earlier.
I'd easily say Moy Boogie makes the best boards. On a boogie board, you can do whatever you want. Catch air, land out on the flats, and your friends just go crazy. Well, the bottom is slick skin, and that allows you to go a lot faster in the water. All the top riders have been riding Moy Boogie boards for the past 10 years. Put your body on a boogie, do it better on a boogie!
Want to get in on the action? Are you ready for a challenge? Pick up that phone now and call 1-900-988-ALL-ONES and see if you've got what it takes to tackle Grand Slam Trivia. Take a swing at winning $50 in cash. It's fun. It's easy. Call now, 1-900-988-1111 from any touch-tone phone. What are you waiting for? Call now, 1-900-988-ALL-ONES, and you could be $50 richer. $2 first minute, $1 each additional. If under 18, get your parents' permission before calling. Boards go prohibited.
In 1964, a novel was published that became one of the most controversial works of its time. Newsweek magazine praised it as original, unrelenting, pulsing prose, while Time magazine condemned it as an extra special dirty book. Now, Last Exit to Brooklyn is a movie. What will they say now? Last Exit to Brooklyn, rated R, starts this Friday at a theater near you.
Welcome back, everybody, to Huntington Beach, California, surfing on Prime Network. I'm Mike Chamberlain, along with Peter Townend, and semifinal number 2 is in the water right now. Beshing, Clisby, Hogan, and Silva. And what's important here today is not only good surfing, but getting that wave count way up there.
Well, with, having to get 4 rides, some competitors are faced with the reality they might not get 4, as we see up and riding coming down the line. Gary Clisby also trying to work on his wave count. Doesn't get much going there. Right behind him, Hogan's going to get another one real quick up on his backhand, and he's got a little section to work with in front of him coming down the line, building up some speed. He comes off the bottom, off the top nicely a couple of times. They're still going. Coming right at us, comes up the bottom. Nice little re-entry there, and a well-ridden little wave there by Jimmy Hogan.
I think we need to look at this again for the mere fact that you deal with what Mother Nature gives you. In this case, Jimmy Hogan only had about a 1.5-foot wave to work with, but he got everything out of it. He rode the wave all the way to the beach. Not a lot of radical maneuvers, but nonetheless, it probably will score fairly high in terms of everything we've seen so far. Jimmy Hogan, who owns his own condo in San Clemente, California. We've got the orange jersey of Doug Silva, the blue jersey of Gary Clisby. They both kind of look at each other. I'd say that Silva's got position, and he paddles in. He's going to be up and at it. The goofy footer trying to figure out whether to go left or right. You can see him looking over his shoulder. He opts to go into the wave stomach first. Nice little sea spray that he sends behind him. Looks over his shoulder again to see what's shaping up into the shore break. And as it fizzles out, Silva really not scoring big. Uh-oh. Here comes Shane Beshing.
Well, right behind him, Shane Beshing. He comes off the top there. He's looking for this wave to build up some speed down the sandbar as it hits the inside. He's trying to get that speed for the big move, an upside down, backside re-entry as it closes out. And that'll be it for Shane Beshing, and that's his 3rd ride. So Shane Beshing, he still needs a good ride here, and we're well over halfway through semifinal number 2.
Meanwhile, Jimmy Hogan is in another zip code down the beach right now, and the waves are starting to come his direction. So Jimmy Hogan way down the beach. He's going to finally lean into one. Not a big wave, but he's happy to have one at all. And now he works it backside. These waves travel thousands of miles to get here, and Jimmy Hogan chooses this one to pick off. Not a lot to work with as he falls into the whitewater, but we've got a nice-looking set out front right now, Peter.
Well, local knowledge finally coming Gary Clisby's way, and here he comes down the line. A nice sweeping roundhouse cutback into the whitewater. This is better. This is what we need to see from Clisby. Now he drives it down the line on this little racetrack section. He's got the speed, a nice off the top there, and now out on the open face, a quick snap off the open face, and that was a great ride for Gary Clisby, Mike, and he needs a couple more, but that's the kind of wave you need to get through into the finals.
Talk about being in the right place at the right time, Peter. Maybe that knowledge did pay off for him. He lives here in Huntington Beach, and he watches setup in front of him. At one point, got tremendous board speed up, and then tried to pull off a big maneuver at the end, and he paddles back outside. So Clisby pulling off a nice wave, 5 foot 6 inches, 135 pounds from Huntington Beach, California.
But outside now, here's another wave shaping up. It looks like Doug Silva. He's paddling onto it and up and riding. Silva, he's trying to get it to build up in front of him. He's bouncing that board, trying to build up the speed. Here he comes down the inside, getting all the speed he can. He goes for the 360. He pulls it off, and Silva there with a nice clean 360. One great move on the inside, and that'll definitely help his bid also.
But we've got maybe the wave of the afternoon shaping up outside, Peter Townend.
Well, on the inside, Gary Clisby got another ride, but outside, look at this wave for Shane Beshing. A beautiful cut back there. Now he's got a hot inside section to deal with. He's building up the speed. Here he comes. Another snap off the top. Oh, he caught that edge again, but now a nice vertical re-entry. And Shane Beshing there, a 4th strong ride, and I'd say that will be helping his bid to make the finals here today in Huntington Beach.
Here's Jimmy Hogan down the beach. I think he's going to try and go right side on this. Maybe I'm wrong. He's looking. He goes left side, backhander, as it forms up and closes out. He tried to do a reverse 360, and he does it, Peter Townend. You rarely see the 360 done from the backhand side.
Well, let's take a look at that again. That was a truly radical maneuver. We just saw Doug Silva do a frontside one, and one of the most difficult maneuvers in surfing is a backside 360. I think I remember back when Shane Oran did one of those at the OP Pro at Huntington Pier, remember, and won the first ever OP Pro, and that was a beautiful backside 360 there by Jimmy Hogan.
They are so rare to see in surfing. It's like an eagle in golf. You rarely see it. And that time, Jimmy Hogan turns in the eagle. Well, Peter, it started out slow, but I'm going to tell you, by the end of semifinal number 2, it got hot and heavy out here in Huntington Beach.
Well, the last 5 minutes were quite intense out here in these small, well-shaped waves on the inside here. You know, it's nice and sunny now, the sun's out, but some explosive surfing there in the end, and I think Doug Silver's going to be in the finals here. He looked really good out there. I'd be real surprised if he doesn't make it, and I think Shane Besson had enough to put himself in there, and even though we saw that great wave from Jimmy Hogan where we saw a rare backside 360, I don't think that was enough for Hogan, Mike, and that's going to be it for him, I think.
I think you're right, Peter. If you were judged on one wave, maybe Jimmy would have won it, but they judge him on your final 4. Well, we await the outcome of semifinal number 2. And speaking of Jimmy Hogan, he's a very interesting young man, and every week on Prime Network, we try and get up close, if you will, with the guys that surf on the tour each and every week. And we're going to highlight the young man from San Clemente, California. Believe it or not, you know what he does in his off time? He likes to watch speedway racing. That's one of his hobbies. He loves to flirt with danger. Let's meet Jimmy Hogan. Jim Hogan, or Hogs as they call him, broke into competitive surfing in the beginning of the 80s as a standout member of the NSSA national team. Out of curiosity, how did Jimmy get into surfing in the first place?
Well, I was 9 years old and I got dropped off at the beach and I borrowed this guy's kneeboard at Doheny, and I went out there and took off on a whitewater and stood up my first wave, and I was hooked ever since. Well, my first contest was a WSA contest, and I was in the boys division when I was about 13. I won the district, and then I went up to the invitationals up in Santa Cruz, and I lost to Curran on a countback in the final. And he won that one, I got second, and we had a rivalry going for a few years after that.
Jim has done well on the ASP Tour and has been one of the PSAA's most prolific winners since its inception in 1985. Jim is known for his hard driving style and a bag of tricks that includes anything and everything. Jim Hogan, no stranger to the winner's circle. Let's check in with Chris Morrow. He's on the beach right now with Doug Silva.
All right, Doug Silva. Doug, you had a bit of a rough start at the beginning of this year, but now it seems like you found your groove. How are those little lefts down the beach working for you?
Well, they seem to be treating me pretty well. They're fairly consistent and something I can really negotiate with, just speed, and that. Feels really good to have my health back and my strength, and I'm just glad to be where I am right now.
Doug, that seems like those little lefts seems like a little bit of a goofy foot advantage out in these conditions. Do you agree?
Definitely, you create more speed on your forehand, and little lefts like that or anything on your forehand is definitely an advantage, I'd have to say.
You think aerobically it's pretty tough in these small waves, creating your own speed?
Very much so. You're using a lot of calf muscles and a lot of hip muscles. You can get cramps, and sometimes it's very aerobic as I'm breathing heavily right now, yes.
All right, Doug, well, best of luck to you.
All right, thank you.
All right, Mike, Peter, back to you.
Right now, back to business. The Body Glove Bodyboard Finals about to get underway.
Well, as usual, we got our same faces. Mike Stewart and Ben Severson are out there, and they've been looking good as usual. We always see them in the finals, but the new faces, Chris Burkhardt and Jackie Fisher, are out there. And at the last event, we saw Jason Brown from Hawaii upset those guys and win the event. And maybe we can see an upset out here today.
I don't know, Peter. To do it, they got to get by 3-time world champion Mike Stewart. Let's see if they can. And the finals of the Body Glove Bodyboard Championships. Let's do it right now here at Huntington Beach.
Well, kicking hard, trying to get into this first wave, and up and riding in the blue, it's Chris Burkhardt, and a nice El Rolo on the inside there. Probably a power roll would be more descriptive of it, and he opens up the exchange here in the Body Glove Bodyboarding Finals. All the way in, you can see him standing up in the shallow water there, and he'll make his way back out. Well, a nice wave taking shape here in the Body Glove Bodyboarding Finals, and a nice belly spin on the open face there by Jackie Fisher in the orange. He gets covered up by a little bit of whitewater on the inside into a belly spin on the inside. And so far, the two new faces, Mike, putting the first scores on the board. We've yet to see any rides from Ben Severson or Mike Stewart.
No, but Burkhardt and Fisher open up the bidding here in the finals of the Body Glove Bodyboard Championships. So you're right, Peter. It's interesting. They don't seem phased. They're letting the veterans go down the beach, and they're taking on the waves down here to the right side.
Well, you know what's absolutely amazing so far in the Body Glove Bodyboarding division this year? Mike Stewart hasn't won an event yet, Mike, and that's a bit of an unusual thing. And right now he's out in the water trying to find his first victory of the season. And he's only had one ride so far here in the finals. And we see outside right now, look, he's scrambling down the beach. and this could be a wave he needs to get his first victory.
One thing that Mike Stewart has is phenomenal wave knowledge. He always seems to be at the right place at the right time. And here he comes from Hawaii, number 2 on the circuit in 1990. Mike Stewart, 3-time world champion, reverse belly spin. He'll slip under some of the whitewater coming down. He scoots up on the board to get the speed up and continues to work over the whitewater before he ducks underneath it. And out front, Peter, we've got a wave starting to form up for, it looks like, Chris Burkhardt.
Well, Chris Burkhardt looking at a wave here. He kicks onto it into a belly spin, a nice clean belly spin into another one. Now he's coming to the inside as it closes out into a power roll there, a good strong power roll from Burkhardt. Another belly spin on the inside, and out behind him, Mike, could be Jackie Fisher taking a look at one. He can't get into it. But you know that ride of Mike Stewart's? Let's take a look at it again. He got a nice clean wave there, and what was the problem, though, on the inside here, he couldn't get back on that open face. You saw him move forward on the board, try to get to the open face, and I think that cost him on the judge's scorecard. That could have been a lot higher if he could have got back onto that open face.
A lot of that was the fault of the wave and not the rider. The waves just aren't big enough to produce a lot of speed. They can kick as hard as they can, but if they don't have a lot of open face and a lot of water to work with, there's nothing they can do. Here comes Ben Severson. He goes into a straight-on belly spin, slides under. Look at this little wave, only about a foot high, but still ducks his head underneath the lip of it and gets a miniature cover-up. So Ben Severson from Hawaii showing that it doesn't have to be a 15-foot wave to score some big points, and I think that's what we're going to look for in this thing, Peter. You're not going to get big waves and a lot of power to work with, so finesse and consistency is really going to pay off.
Over 28 million adults get athlete's foot.
I'm Jim Byrne. I had athlete's foot until I used NP27. It has an ingredient recommended by doctors.
Look, NP27 stops the burning, itching of athlete's foot fast.
NP27. Nothing's a better cure for athlete's foot.
If I were in an accident, unable to talk, my Medical Alert bracelet would warn people that I'm allergic to penicillin and codeine.
If you have a medical condition, Medical Alert could save your life.
Join now. Call 1-800-ID-ALERT.
This year, why go back to the future when you could celebrate the glorious past? This is Medieval Times Dinner and Tournament. It's a show you want to share with friends again and again. Hour after hour of entertainment, and who knows who'll win tonight. Medieval Times Dinner and Tournament, the show that's become a legend. Look for our discount coupon in your local newspaper.
Good to have you with us, everybody. From Huntington Beach, California, Mike Chamberlain and Peter Townend, 4 talented people in the water, a good crowd on hand at Bolsa Chica Beach, and we're still underway with the bodyboarding final. Peter, we just got the results in from surfing semifinal number 2. Fill us in.
Well, as we predicted, Shane Beshan and Doug Silver go to the finals. They'll be going out there to join Brian Potka and Sean Madison. Well, shaping up outside, here's a pretty decent-looking wave from Mike Stewart. Let's see what he can do with it. He decides to let that one go. Ben Severson's inside of him. He might have a look at it. But outside Mike Chamberlain, look at this big peak. Stewart must have known something we didn't, because look at this wave coming at him.
This is what I'm talking about by wave knowledge. Now, Stewart could have gone for the first one, but here he is, and call it, Peter.
Well, a nice wave, a beautiful belly spin there from the takeoff. Look at this hot little section he's got on the inside. This time he's got the speed for the open face. Nice belly spin, a nice barrel roll, beautiful combination. Into another barrel roll, 2 great barrel rolls. He gets covered up out of that one. And Mike Stewart here with a great ride, easily the best. A nice power roll on the inside. And Stewart's wave there, a great ride. Well, I want to go back, though, and take a look at this ride of Mike Stewart's, because it's a critical ride. Easily, by far, probably twice better than any wave we've seen so far. And you can see he gets a nice belly spin from the takeoff, and then he comes down the inside section into another beautiful belly spin on the open face, into a barrel roll, a beautiful barrel roll, then another barrel roll, and then a power roll on the inside. And that was just a great ride from Mike Stewart, as good as you'll see out here today in bodyboarding.
Down the beach, Ben Severson, the current points leader on the Bud Pro Surfing Tour, catches one way down the beach, goes into a belly spin, lifts those fins out of the water to free himself up. slips under the lip of the wave, and a nice little barrel roll at the top. Now he's working into the shore break and a bunch of double kick, but oh my goodness sakes, Peter, the wave of the afternoon starting to form up outside.
And Mike Stewart in position again. He just kicks straight back out into position. A nice belly spin on the open face, comes to the inside. He does a power roll on the inside. That wave didn't cooperate though. It looked good from the takeoff, and then it didn't really shape up on the inside, even though he got two strong moves. Meanwhile, outside in the blue,
Chris Burkhardt from Kauai leans into one. He goes right side this time, gets buried, tries to come out of it with a power roll, but by that time the whitewater ate him alive. So Burkhardt will kick those fins back out to the lineup here in Huntington Beach, California. Mike Chamberlain and Peter Townend, we're all here as part of the $50,000 Dive and Surf Pro-Am. Ben Severson looking at a little bump on the horizon that almost turned into a wave. No go. But on the right side, Peter, in the orange is Jackie Fisher. Haven't heard from him in a while.
Well, he's got a nice little wave taking shape, a little right with some wall to it. Now he's kicking out. He did a nice belly spin from the open takeoff there. A nice barrel roll on the inside as it closes out. Now he just stays with the whitewater, tries for a little power roll there in about 6 inches. And that wasn't a bad ride there for Jackie Fisher. That'll definitely help his cause out here in the Body Glove bodyboarding final. Well, kicking into a wave here as we're inside the last 5 minutes is Ben Severson. This wave really hasn't got too much offering at the moment. He's done a couple of belly spins, but he's headed straight to the beach. He hasn't gone left nor right. Now he comes towards us on the left, and he does a power roll as it closes out, but there really wasn't a lot of shape to that wave, Mike.
No, it started out as one of those high rollers you see off the Waikiki Beach, and it finally turned into a shore break, and he had to punch through the backside of it, but Ben will paddle back out. In the yellow, Mike Stewart, three-time world champion from Hawaii, number 2 in points in 1990 on the circuit. But as Peter mentioned earlier, is yet to win an event on the 1990 tour. And I'd have to say that right now he's got the lead here in the finals as he pulls off a couple of nice little maneuvers.
Well, great set of combinations there. He got 3 or 4 great belly spins from the takeoff, and then he came on the inside and did a couple of nice power rolls. So another solid ride there for Mike Stewart, and I'd say he's got the finals well in hand at the moment. Well, you see him look at his watch, so it must be just about over, as right behind him it's Chris Burkhardt on probably his last ride, a belly spin after a power roll. There's one last chance here for a ride, and outside, up and riding, Jackie Fisher, as there the bell sounds for the end of the Body Glove bodyboarding final. And Jackie Fisher will bring the last ride all the way into the sand. And I'll tell you what, Mike, I'd have to put my money on Mike Stewart after that one.
Well, Peter, I think the only thing standing between Mike Stewart and a check for $2,000 is about 5 minutes or so. I'll tell you the truth. I think he walked away with the top money.
Well, I'd give up judging if he didn't win the first prize today. He dominated the heat from start to end. He had all the great waves, particularly the ones with the open face. The other guys just didn't get waves. They all closed out on him. Ben Severson was really out of luck. He never got those waves that allowed him to do the big moves. And I think Jackie Fisher could have a shot at second. He found that kind of little peak down the beach by himself, got a couple of good clean moves in, so he may have a shot at second, but Mike Stewart all the way.
Well, I got to agree with you, Peter. Mike Stewart was on it today. Let's see how he felt. Let's check in with Chris Morrow.
All right, Mike Stewart, pretty shaky start for you, actually, even though you're still only 10 points behind the leader in the race. So far, here it is, the third event, and you haven't won one yet. But here you had a good final. How'd you feel with that one?
I felt pretty good. It was really challenging. The conditions were, I'm trying to convince myself the waves are good, so it's challenging.
Did you feel like you had a couple good strong waves in that heat?
Yeah, I thought I had a couple good ones, but it's just so hard. The waves are so small. It's just so gutless.
All right, Mike. Well, best of luck to you.
Thanks a lot.
Well, we'll know in a short while if Mike Stewart walks away with the top prize money in his first win in 1990. But now, the meat of the matter, the men's surfing finals are right around the corner.
And it's going to be a great one. Shane Beshan, as I predicted at the top of the show, he's in there and looking very good. Don't count out Brian Putka. He's looked great all the way through. He's been picking those lefts off. You know, he's a local from Fountain Valley, seems to have it wired out here. And we can't count out Sean Madison from Florida. He's also looked very good during the competition, and he likes these kind of small waves that are, you know, kind of like where he comes from in Florida. And also, we can't count out Doug Silver. He's been picking off those lefts down the beach with Putka also, so it's shaping up to be a great final.
More than the win, perhaps $7,000 at stake to the winner of this contest. Let's turn our attention to the finals of the $50,000 Dive and Surf Pro-Am. Let's get to it.
Well, they're out in the water, and let's get underway. And here's Shane Beshan on the first wave, paddling into it, and let's see what he can get going. He's trying to bounce into a reformed section. He cuts it back, whacks it off the whitewater there on this small wave. Now trying to build up the inside speed, comes off the bottom. Nice off the top there as that wave closes out, and not a bad opening wave there for young Shane Beshan. You see, he hasn't even got his hair wet yet.
Yeah, but Peter, I'll guarantee you, before the finals are over, that long blonde mane will be wet as he paddles back out to the lineup. A look again. He powers off the top, just rips right through the lip of the wave, and brings it all back down with him. Here's Brian Potker. We refer to him as one of the locals from Fountain Valley, just up the beach from Huntington. He ran out of open face. He's working the soup or the white water, and he's running out of that at an amazing speed, too. He'll kick out and paddle back out.
Well, he's going to be looking for better than that earlier on in the semi-finals. He got a lot of good lefts down there, but that one really didn't pan out for him. And outside now, paddling into it, look at his Dougie Silver on his first one. He's looking for those same lefts. A nice little open face snap there. Now he builds up some speed on the inside, and he's trying to build it up down the line. Here he comes. Oh, nice roundhouse cutback on that little inside section. And Dougie Silver, a good opening ride. Another little quick cutback there, and works this wave all the way into the inside. He got a really long ride out here on these small conditions here at Huntington Beach today.
But at some point, Peter, they simply run out of gas, and not a lot of speed on these waves. They are very small. There's no denying it. But to show you how small they are, look at this. It's only up to maybe his hip, but still he works it over, sends some white water flying. In the blue is Sean Madison, a 20-year-old from Carlsbad, actually grew up in Florida, kind of shoulder hops into another section, and no, he goes out the backside, stomach first. I guess he didn't like the way that thing was shaping up.
Well, it really didn't pan out for him either, and here's Brian Potker this time deciding to go right. We haven't seen him go on his backhand too often. He got a couple of good snaps there, and this wave's not turning out to be too bad. Oh, a nice vertical re-entry on the inside from Potker, and that's a lot better ride there for Brian Potker as he makes his way back out.
Well, it's a pretty sight here, these bright-colored jerseys against the blue water of the Pacific Ocean. Potker absolutely vertical on his backside. You don't see it all that often, but nonetheless, he's going to score some high points with that big maneuver.
Well, here's Dougie Silver again driving down the line. Another good snap there, good cutback there from Dougie Silver on these small conditions. Tries to get a little cover up there in the whitewater and trying to maximize the points here. Dougie Silver's been looking good so far in the final.
Here's Shane Beshin. He was an amateur last year, turned professional this year. Keep in mind, this young man is still in high school in San Clemente, California. He's 18 years of age. Good bash there as he brings it all back with him, tries to get everything he can out of it.
And here's Madison right behind him on that same ride. A quick snap there, now building up that speed down the line. Comes racing down the inside here on this little wave. Oh, a snap right there, nearly loses it and pulls it out. And a good ride there for Madison. Good back-to-back rides, actually, from Madison and Shane Beshin.
What's amazing is the board speed that he got up on that little wave. Shane Beshin, watch him up to the top, cranks it, vertical, brings it all back with him again into the whitewater. That's great surfing from the youngster from San Clemente.
Well, let's look at Madison, and, you know, he's got this inside snap here. You see it. Oh, he puts it right in there, buries that rail, and just manages to pull it out. Great surfing from these two.
That's going to be a cover of some surfing magazine in the near future. Surfing on Prime Network in a moment.
It's hot. It's fast. It's sexy. It's Pro Beach Volleyball, and Prime Ticket serves up the best players spiking and diving their way to big prize money. Catch Pro Beach Volleyball Mondays at 7, only on Prime Ticket.
Prime Ticket presents Poetry in Motion. The Lakers, a classic. Performed for your pleasure on Prime Ticket. UCLA Sports Magazine's got it all. Up-to-the-minute information on all Bruin sports, plus interviews with coaches and athletes. Join host Jack Snow and find out what's brewing on UCLA Sports Magazine, only on Prime Ticket.
I'd easily say Moy Boogie makes the best boards. On a boogie board, you can do whatever you want. Catch air, land out on the flats, and your friends just go crazy. Well, the bottom is slick skin, and that allows you to go a lot faster in the water.
All the top riders have been riding Moy Boogie boards for the past 10 years.
Put your body on a boogie, do it better on a boogie.
And once again, we would like to welcome you back to Surfing at Huntington Beach, California. I'm Mike Chamberlain, along with Peter Townend. The finals in the surfing competition are still underway. It's hot and heavy in the Pacific Ocean.
Well, outside, a good wave taking shape. Two competitors are down there, orange and red, and winning the battle. Doug Silver in the orange, and because of the paddle battle, he's caught behind in a mountain of whitewater, and once again, he gets out of there in frustration. He can't get to that open face. But meanwhile, down the beach, Mike, looks like Potka might have an opportunity for his best ride so far, if it has any shape.
Potker, the goofy footer, can lean into this one. He's from Fountain Valley, which is nearby Huntington Beach. A lot of local knowledge. Almost lost it on the cutback. Now he's working some of that whitewater inside on the shore break at Huntington Beach, California. Not a lot to work with. Still skirting the shore break, though. Getting everything they can out of it. That's what the judges want to see. Double jumps into the shore break again. So Potker actually scoring a pretty high wave on what really is only about a 2-foot wave.
Well, yeah, it was a solid ride, though. He put together a lot of maneuvers, and what happened out there in this inconsistent surface, at least he had the opportunity to get some open face and put some maneuvers together, and that's a real important factor out here right now as we have a small set approaching. Looks like it might be Doug Silver in the orange. He's going to have a chance to show us what he can do on his backhand, and up and riding in the orange on his backhand. Dougie Silver's got a nice shaped little wave. He cuts it back into the whitewater. Now he's got a critical section. Oh, and he's not going to get back to the open face. A costly move there. He cut back and held it back there too long. Couldn't get back to the open face.
Shane Beshin, the sole remaining surfer here on the right side of the break, paddles into a good-looking little right-hander. Look at this thing set up in front of him. Great board speed. Here he is off the top. Big maneuver off the soup, and he hangs onto the board. So Beshin just surfing to perfection at the moment. Even not a great scoring wave, but still had to impress some of the judges above Peter.
Well, once again, he went for a good solid move as the wave was closing out. He built up that speed, and he hit that whitewater with perfect timing, big float, and brings it down nicely.
Sean Madison trying to pick off a wave right in front of us right now, Peter, paddling very hard. The wind is really holding this waves up. And here he goes, the regular footer with one big maneuver off the top, and side slips and lost control of the board again. That is his second mistake of the day, Peter.
Well, yeah, but that one won't really count, I don't think, Mike. There wasn't really much happening other than that one big move. As we take a look at it again, you see he went for the big move. He spun the tail out, and he just couldn't bring it back around in the whitewater.
Brian Potker trying to pick off one of those smaller inside waves right now. Strokes once, strokes twice, and leans into the backsider. Whitewater starts to curl all around him, and he, too, trying to find that open face. It is not going to happen. These waves, if anything else, Peter, are just very slow today. They can't get a lot of speed, a lot of momentum up.
Well, like I said, these deteriorating conditions here for the finals, that wind's come up from the onshore, and it's made the faces very bumpy. You really got to concentrate on trying to find one with some open face. And right now, down the beach, Dougie Silver's looking at a big left. Looks like could be the biggest left we've seen so far in the finals. What's he going to do? Is he going to get this one outside?
Oh, he's got no choice. He's got to wheel around and deal with it. And here it is. Again, it's going to be a late whitewater takeoff. He drops into it. Nice bottom turn. And this time, right in front of Potker, he's doing his maneuvers. Here's the open face we talked about. That's what all the surfers want, some room to maneuver. It's going to set up for him in the shore break. Good board speed and not a lot of wave to work with, but he tries to send some whitewater and is still riding the wave. So if nothing else, he's getting everything out of it.
And behind him, Brian Potka picking up a wave, and looks like he might have a bit of an inside connection. He's bouncing into this hot little section. Can he set up for a maneuver? He cuts it back, and I think he went the wrong way there. That wave peeled off in front of him. He could have got a big floater in, but he decided to go the other way, and I think that was a mistake. Meanwhile, down the beach, Shane Beshin had a nice-looking ride. He got one good maneuver in, and then a beautiful tail-sliding floater on the inside. So Shane Beshin there adding to his wave count also.
Here's Sean Madison as this whitewater already peeling off to him as he drops into the wave. Good little vertical maneuver off the top. Sean Madison now living in Carlsbad by way of Florida. Last year on the tour, number 15, number 19 right now, and inside still rips off a nice vertical maneuver.
Well, down the beach towards Huntington Pier, looks like Dougie Silver looking at a good one. Takes off in the whitewater, it's crumbling, but oh, a beautiful snap on the open face there. Now he comes back onto that green water. Another cutback. Oh, and he lost the tail block there as he slid it around. He brought it back under his feet. Sets up on the inside, a nice off the top there. And Silver there with some solid surfing. Meanwhile, outside, Mike, looks like Brian Potka.
Brian Potker is not going to go for it, but over here, Sean Madison is in position as he scratches and kicks to get into this wave. Needs to get that wave count up. Here's a nice wall in front of him, and you're watching Surfing on Prime Network. Mike Chamberlain and Peter Townend and a cast of thousands here at Huntington Beach as that wave goes absolutely nowhere for Madison, and he's got to paddle back out a little bit frustrated.
Well, up and riding, Brian Putka getting one here in the closing moments. Trying to build up that speed. A nice floater over the whitewater around that section. Another floater over the whitewater. He's done a lot with a little inside wave. Still working it. He's got some more open face. It's only about 6 inches worth of it, but he's still going. And meanwhile, right behind him, Shane Besson here on maybe his last ride. Oh, a nice off the top there. He comes up the bus, snaps it up there again. 2 good moves. A third floater over the whitewater. A beautiful upside down re-entry at the end. And Shane Besson there, he gave a salute. I think he knows he's got this one in the bag, Mike.
I think so. The left hand went up in victory, and there's the water flying off the top of his head, one of his trademarks. Well, Peter, if the judges see it the same way we did, this will be a day that Shane Besson will never forget, the day he put his first pro title under his belt.
Well, he surfed exceptionally well. Considering we had poor surfing conditions, he just set himself apart. He ripped it apart. And as I said, you know, if you want to win the overall Bud Tour, you've got to be able to do it in everything from 2 feet to 20 feet. And out here today, he showed that he wanted 1,000 points and $7,000, and I think he's going to take it away.
Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll see if we're right. We'll see if Shane Besson walks away with the $7,000 first prize money. First a timeout, then we'll be back.
You know, when people want to get away and play, they try everything to save some money. Ads in the newspaper, travel agents. But there's a better way. Players Club. If you enjoy Las Vegas, Atlantic City, Reno, Lake Tahoe, the Caribbean, Players Club is made for you. You know, these people know about going first class. So they book you into some of the best casino resorts in the country, in the world. The Riviera, the Flamingo Hilton, Harrah's, right here at Resorts International, Paradise Island in the Bahamas, all top places, fun places. And your membership card? Gets you up to 60% off your room in season, when other people can't even get the room. And that's every day of the year. 25% off meals and drinks, another 50% off shows and entertainment. You can't get deals like that in a newspaper. You want to know why this card's so special?
Players Club members are good customers, so we take care of them with discounts and privileges the general public can't get.
And I haven't even mentioned airfares. 50 to 70% off with no restrictions. If you have to change your plans, no penalty. Look, I can't give you all the details now, so you call this number for plenty of free information. Read it all, then make up your own mind. New members get 2 free room nights in Las Vegas or Atlantic City when Players Club books your flight. A nice way to say hello, right?
Welcome back, everybody. What's going on right now, they have just announced the winner of the Body Glove Bodyboard division, and it was going to happen sooner or later, Peter. It's no secret. Mike Stewart is the winner.
Well, they couldn't keep him away from that winner's circle for the whole season. He didn't win the first 2, but he's up on the scoreboard now, and I think he'll open up now and start to see him, you know, really put some points on the board for the rest of the year.
And that may not be good news for the rest of the bodyboarders on the tour, but that's the way it is. Okay, we're about to hear the winner of the surfing competition. Keep in mind to check for $7 grand, Peter.
Well, there it is. That's going to be Shane Besson. Doug Silver there picking up the second place trophy. What a great win here, Mike. Young Shane Besson winning his first ever pro event, and that's a big victory. Well, the local fans here in Huntington Beach, they're stoked with this big win. And Shane Besson, I'm sure we'll see him up there in the winner's circle again later in the season.
And to the winners go the rewards, and I guess the yellow jersey was the secret here today. Let's turn first to Mike Stewart. Mike, it took you 3 shots on the tour this year, but you finally put that first win of 1990 under your belt.
Yeah, I had a couple close runs the first 2 events, and yeah, finally paid off, you know, the perseverance.
Not the best conditions in the world, but, you know, to win, like Peter Townend said, it doesn't matter if they're 2 feet or 20 feet. You got to deal with it.
Yeah, actually, I'm, you know, more proud of winning in conditions like this. It's actually more challenging to me than it is, you know, when it's big, so I feel pretty good.
Okay, you're on the scoreboard in 1990. Congratulations to Mike Stewart. And Shane Besson, this will probably be a day that you will remember the rest of your life. The day you won your first pro title and you took over the points lead on the circuit. What a day for you, Shane.
Yeah, I'm stoked, and I just hope it continues this way because, as you know, there's 8 more contests left in the tour, and I hope to finish #1. Being #1 throughout the tour doesn't really mean that much until you end it as #1.
You know, you look like you're really focused. The people at home that watch it on Prime Network may think that it's all fun and games. There's a lot of training. You take it very seriously, don't you?
Definitely. I mean, the fun part is a really key factor. If you don't have fun at what you're doing, then it's obviously not what you should be doing because, I mean, having fun's a really important thing in life. But once I get out in the heat, it's really serious. And
It's all business at that point, huh?
Yeah, all business.
All right, well, congratulations to Shane and to Mike, winners here today at the $50,000 Dive and Surf Pro-Am. Next stop on the tour, stop number 4, Imperial Beach, California. We hope you'll join us on Prime Network. For Peter Townend and down on the corner there, Chris Morrow, I'm Mike Chamberlain. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time, Surfing on TV.